All right, so you want to become an embedded system security engineer.
Yeah.
You've been digging into RoleCatcher,
Uh,
so you've seen like the demand,
right.
the salary potential,
Mm.
but it's a field that really keeps you on your toes.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to keep learning constantly.
That's right. You got to keep leveling up those skills constantly.
Absolutely.
So today we're going deeper.
Okay.
We're going beyond just the surface level, like what does the job description say?
Mm.
What are the bullet points?
Yeah.
Let's really dissect what makes this career tick
Love it.
and whether it's actually the right challenge for you.
Right. Let's do it.
So one of the things that's so interesting to me about this career
Yeah.
is that it blends this like super technical mastery
Right.
with this real need to think big picture.
Absolutely.
It's not just like we're securing the data on this computer.
Yeah.
We're talking about systems embedded in everything.
Literally everything.
Everything.
Pacemakers.
Pacemakers.
Self-driving cars.
Oh, wow.
Fighter jets.
Really?
I mean, you name it.
Yeah.
If it's got a computer in it, chances are it
That's
needs
got to be secure.
embedded system security.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so the stakes can get really high here.
Yeah.
So this source actually mentions that these engineers are, quote unquote, ensuring products with embedded systems and connected devices operate safely.
Right.
That's a huge responsibility.
Yeah, it's a big one. And it's what makes this field so demanding. But honestly, that's also what makes it so rewarding.
Right.
Imagine having to outthink someone who's like actively trying to exploit a vulnerability
Right.
in a medical device.
Oh, my gosh.
Or a piece of critical infrastructure.
Yeah.
Like the power grid.
Right.
It's a constant game of cat and mouse with the bad guys.
It sounds like you need nerves of steel to do this.
It definitely takes a certain type of person.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little intimidated,
Yeah.
even just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So let's break down some misconceptions.
Okay.
Is this really all about being like a lone wolf hacker?
Right.
In a dark room?
In a hoodie?
Yeah, with the headphones on?
Yeah.
Or is there more to it than that?
That's a common myth.
Okay.
In reality, it's actually a very collaborative field.
Really?
Oh, yeah. You're constantly working with
Okay.
teams of engineers, interacting with stakeholders.
Right.
You might even find yourself doing some teaching,
Interesting.
educating others about security best practices.
Okay, so you need to be able to explain this stuff
Yeah,
to other people,
absolutely.
not just like talk code all day.
You got to be able to communicate those complex ideas in a way that anyone can understand.
That makes sense, especially when you're dealing with something as critical as security.
Totally.
You need everybody on the same page.
Right. You're all in it together.
So strong communication skills just as important as the technical prowess.
100%.
Okay, so we've established that.
Yeah.
What about the learning curve on this?
Yeah.
Is this something that you can just master once and then
Right.
kind of coast on your knowledge?
I wish.
Yeah, right.
Not a chance.
Okay.
The world of cybersecurity is constantly evolving.
Right.
New threats are emerging every day.
It's true.
Technologies advance so rapidly, and you need to be constantly adapting and expanding your skill set just to keep up.
So is it safe to say that this is not for the faint of heart?
It's definitely a challenging field.
Okay.
But for those who thrive on challenge
Right.
and love continuous learning,
Uh-huh.
it can be incredibly stimulating.
Right. You got to love to learn in this field.
Absolutely. It's a lifelong journey.
So it's less about reaching the summit and more about enjoying the climb.
I like that.
So let's talk about the climb.
Okay.
Let's talk about the career paths here.
Yeah.
Where does someone even begin on this journey?
So it often starts with entry-level roles.
Okay.
Things like a junior embedded systems security engineer.
Okay.
And you might find yourself focusing on vulnerability assessments,
Okay.
which involve like meticulously examining systems to identify any potential weaknesses.
Or you could get into penetration testing, where
Okay.
you're actually simulating real-world attacks
Oh, wow.
to see how robust the security measures actually are.
So it's really like thinking like the bad guys to outsmart them.
Exactly. You got to get inside their heads,
Oh, wow.
understand their tactics, their tools, their mindset.
Right.
And a great way to actually gain practical experience with this is through capture the flag competitions.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of those?
I have heard of those.
They're cybersecurity competitions
Yeah.
designed to test these skills.
Okay.
And it's a great way to see how you measure up against other people.
I've heard those are intense.
They can be pretty challenging.
So you work your way up from there.
Exactly.
Okay.
As you gain experience, you might move into designing entire security architectures
Wow.
for embedded systems,
Okay.
making sure that they are secure by design
Right.
from the ground up.
So it's like you're building in the security from the very beginning.
Exactly. And eventually, You could even find yourself leading strategic security initiatives
Oh, wow.
for a company or even a whole industry,
Really?
setting the standards and best practices that other people follow.
So you could go from competing in Capture the Flag
Yeah.
to presenting at global cybersecurity conferences, shaping the future of the entire field.
It's a pretty amazing trajectory.
Wow, that is quite a path.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
But let's get into some specifics.
Okay.
What are some of the less obvious skills that are crucial for success in this field? Because it's not all just like firewalls and firmware, right?
You're right. It goes beyond just the technical stuff. You're right. It's not all about the technical skills.
Yeah.
Those are obviously critical.
Okay.
One often overlooked aspect is communication.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Why is communication so essential for an embedded systems security engineer?
Well, because you're not just dealing with machines, you're dealing with people. You might need to explain a complex vulnerability
Uh-huh.
to a non-technical executive.
Right.
Or maybe you have to write a really clear and concise report
Yeah.
for your team,
Mm-hmm.
or even lead a training session
Okay.
for other employees.
So you're like a translator almost.
Yeah.
You're bridging the gap between the technical world and like the human world.
That's a great way to put it.
That's really interesting.
And just like any language,
Yeah.
clear communication, it takes practice.
Sure does.
It takes skill.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to effectively convey that technical information
Right.
in a way that's understandable
Mm-hmm.
and actionable.
Yeah.
That's crucial for success in this field.
That makes perfect sense. It's one thing to identify a security risk,
Right.
but it's another thing entirely to get everyone on board with actually addressing it.
Totally.
What other kind of soft skills come into play here?
Well, critical thinking
Okay.
and problem solving,
Right.
those are paramount. You can know all the tools and techniques in the book,
Right.
but if you can't think critically
Okay.
and creatively
Yeah.
about how to apply them to these new and constantly evolving threats,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get left behind.
So it's not just about knowing all the answers.
Right.
It's about knowing the right questions to ask in the first place.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to be able to analyze situations,
Uh-huh.
identify those potential weaknesses,
Okay.
and then develop innovative solutions.
So it's as much about strategy and foresight
Yeah,
as it is about the technical expertise.
absolutely.
Okay, so let's talk about somebody who's interested in this field
Okay.
and they want to make themselves stand out.
Yeah.
What can they do?
So the source mentions certifications.
Right.
Are there specific ones that kind of carry weight in the embedded system security world?
Yeah, are there certain certifications that employers really look for?
Absolutely. There are a couple that are really highly regarded.
Okay.
One is the CESFP, which stands for Certified Embedded Systems Security Professional.
Okay, so it's pretty specific.
Yeah, very specific to this field.
Okay.
And then the other one is the CISSP,
Mm-hmm.
which is the Certified Information Systems Security Professional.
So those sound pretty official.
They are. They're no joke.
What makes them so valuable?
Well, for one thing, they're not easy to get.
Okay.
They require a combination of experience,
Uh-huh.
knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to pass a pretty rigorous exam.
Right. So it's not just something you can like study for a weekend and then get.
No, you got to really know your stuff.
Okay.
And this signals to employers
Wow.
that you have that deep understanding of security principles
Uh-huh.
and that dedication to really stay ahead of the curve.
So it's a good way to differentiate yourself, it sounds like.
That's a great way to stand out. Yeah.
What about for somebody who maybe doesn't have years of experience yet?
Sure.
How can they start building their credentials?
Building a portfolio of security projects.
Okay.
That's a fantastic way to showcase your skills
Okay.
and your passion.
Like what kind of projects are we talking about here?
It could be anything
Okay.
from creating your own encrypted messaging app
Wow.
to designing a security system for your smart home.
Oh, that's cool. So even personal projects can demonstrate your professional capabilities.
Absolutely. Employers love to see initiative
Mm-hmm.
and a genuine passion for the field
Oh.
and a well-crafted portfolio that can be a powerful differentiator,
Yeah.
especially when you're first starting out.
It's about walking the walk,
Exactly.
not just talking the talk.
Show, don't tell, really.
This has been incredibly insightful.
Out of here.
We've talked about the importance of communication,
Yeah.
critical thinking,
Mm-hmm.
the value of these certifications like the CSSP and CISSP,
Right.
and the importance of building a really strong portfolio.
It all matters.
But beyond the skills and the certifications, what's the real heart of this career?
That's a good question.
Why should someone choose this path?
It really comes down to impact. As our world becomes more and more reliant on all of these interconnected devices,
Right.
the work of embedded systems security engineers
Yeah.
becomes absolutely critical.
Because you're not just protecting data at that point. You're
Yeah.
protecting people.
People, infrastructure, our way of life.
Yeah. It's a big responsibility.
Huge.
I mean, I think most people, when they hear embedded systems, that's not the first thing they think of.
Right. It sounds kind of technical.
Yeah.
Maybe even a little boring.
Yeah.
But when you really think about it,
Yeah.
how deeply intertwined these systems are with our everyday lives.
Yeah, that's when it really hits home.
Exactly.
Okay, so walk me through that then.
Okay.
Give me an example.
All right. So you use your smartphone.
Uh-huh.
You drive a car.
Yeah.
You go to the doctor.
Right.
All of those things.
Yeah.
You're interacting with embedded systems.
And those are just the obvious ones.
right. And as those systems
Yeah.
become more complex,
Right.
more interconnected,
Mhm.
the potential consequences of a security breach,
Yeah.
they just keep getting bigger.
So embedded system security engineers really are kind of like on the front lines of a new kind of defense.
That's a good way to look at it.
It's not just about protecting data anymore. It's about protecting people and systems and, like you said, our way of life.
It's high stakes.
Yeah, that must be exhilarating.
It's definitely exciting.
But also probably a little daunting sometimes.
There are definitely moments.
I bet.
But I think for those who are really drawn to those challenges,
Right.
the people who really want to make a difference,
Yeah.
there are very few fields out there that are as impactful
That's a great point.
as this one.
Well, you've given us a lot to think about today.
It's been my pleasure.
From vulnerability assessments to capture the flag competitions to the essential role of communication skills.
It all matters.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
But you know what?
What's that?
I think it's safe to say that in the world of embedded systems, security, it's not just about the technology itself.
Right.
It's about the people using it
Absolutely.
and the people protecting it.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
If you're up for the challenge,
Yeah?
if you're energized by constantly learning and growing and using your skills to protect the things that matter,
Right.
then this might just be the path for you.
Go for it.
We'll catch you next time on The Deep Dive.
See you later.
For another deep dive into a new and exciting career path.
It's good.
Until then, stay curious.